You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. I'm Nicholas Callis. These are your game recaps, standing updates, and league leaders from Thursday, June the 4th, 2020. The Blue Jays and Rangers played each other, a high-scoring game, 10-7 the final score. The Blue Jays got 10 runs on 9 hits, and the Rangers got 12 team hits, but couldn't win this game. Ryan Barucki got the win, Rafael Montero got the loss, and Ken Giles earned save number 16 on the season. AL Central Baseball here. The White Sox beat the Royals 6-3 the final score of this game, and the difference maker in this one was the White Sox getting 4 runs in the 5th inning. Reynaldo Lopez got the win, Mike Montgomery got the loss, and Alex Colome earned his 17th save of the season. The Angels and Twins played each other, and the Angels brought the offense out. They won 11-3. They got 3 runs in the 4th and 7 runs in the 5th inning to win this one. Andrew Heaney got the win. He's 4-6 now, and Fernando Romero now 3-1. His first losing decision of the season after this game. NL East Baseball, the Nationals scored in the 1st inning, and that run held up throughout the entire game. The Mets got blanked, 1-0 the final score. Pretty even game. Each team got 4 hits. Max Scherzer got the win, his 4th of the season. Rick Porcello now 2-6, and Sean Doolittle earned his 23rd save of the season. Another NL East matchup here. The Marlins and Phillies played each other. A close game. The Marlins got 3 in the 7th inning, which was enough for them to win, and the Phillies got 1 in the 8th, but couldn't make a comeback late. Pablo Lopez got the win, Aaron Nola got the loss, and Brandon Kinsler earned his 16th save of the year. A close game here between the Tigers and the Athletics, 10-8 the final score, and the Tigers came out with relatively early offense. They got 5 runs in the 4th inning, tacked on 3 more in the 5th, but the Athletics had some offense brewing early on as well. They got a run in the 3rd, 2 runs in the 5th, and those turned out to be important because they were bolstered by a 6th-run 6th inning. They got a run in the 7th, and they won by just 2 runs, so those early runs were still important, though they weren't in great size. TJ McFarland got the win, and Liam Hendricks earned his 23rd save of the season. NL Central Baseball here between the Reds and the Cubs, 7-2 the final score. The Reds got early offense, 3 runs in the 3rd, 2 runs in the 5th, and they won. Trevor Bauer got his 6th win of the season. Jose Quintana now 3-6 after getting the losing decision on the mound. More NL Central Baseball. Close game here between the Cardinals and the Pirates. 4-3 the final score, and the Cardinals came out on top. The Cardinals had the lead after the 4th inning, and then it was tied when the Pirates scored in the bottom of the 4th. The Cardinals went up 2 in the 6th. 3-1 was the score. They got an extra run in the 8th. It was 4-1 going to the 9th. The Pirates were making a rally, but they fell short 1 run. Carlos Martinez got the win. Robbie Erlin got the loss, and Giovanni Gallegos earned his Major League leading 25th save in this game. NL West Baseball here, a close game. The Rockies 4th place in the NL West, and the Dodgers in 1st place, but the Rockies won game 1 of this series, 7-6 the final score. The Dodgers came out scoring first. They got a run in the 1st and a run in the 2nd, but then the Rockies put 6 on the Dodgers in the 5th inning, and that was too much for them to come back. The Dodgers were chipping away at the lead, and they tied the game in the 6th inning. Then the Rockies got the go-ahead run in the 7th, which held up until the end of the ballgame. James Pezos got the win, Ross Stripling got the loss, and Wade Davis earned his 12th save of the season. And another NL West matchup here. The Padres and Giants played each other, and the Giants took care of the Padres handily, 11-4 the final score. The Padres scored first, but then the Giants put up a 4 spot in the 3rd inning. The Padres tied the game in the 5th, and then the Giants put up 6 in the 6th inning. They tacked on a run in the 8th just for good measure, and they won by 7 runs. Sean Anderson got the win, and Drew Pomeranz got the loss. Observing standings now, starting in the American League East. The New York Yankees did not play today, but they're still at the top of this division. They're 37-26. The Blue Jays are 34-29. They've won 7 games in a row in 9 of their last 10. They're 3 games back now of the Yankees for 1st place. The Orioles are 30-32. They're 6.5 games back. They've lost 7 of their last 10 games, though. The Rays have fallen to 4th place. They've lost 4 games in a row. They've lost 7 of their last 10. They're 7.5 games back. And the Red Sox have had some recent success. They're tied with the Rays for 4th place. 30-34 is their record. Also 7.5 games back of the division lead. In the AL Central, the Twins continue to be the best team in baseball. They're 44-20, though they most recently lost. The White Sox is in 2nd place, 3.5 games back of the Twins. 40-23 is their record. The Indians 34-29, 9.5 games back. The Tigers have lost 4 games in a row, and They're 20 games back of the Twins for first place, and the Royals still at 20 wins. They're 20-43. They're 23.5 games back of the Twins for the division lead. In the AL West, the Athletics are still at the top. They're on a 3-game winning streak. They're 39-25. The Astros keeping pace. They've won 2 in a row. They're 35-27, 3 games back. The Angels are 30-32. They're 8 games back. The Rangers falling behind. They're 26-37, 12.5 games back. And the Mariners still in last place. 24-40 is their record, and they're 15 games back of the A's for first place. Wildcard standings look like this. The White Sox 40-23. They're the second best team in the American League, believe it or not, but they're overshadowed by the Twins, who are leading the AL Central with 44 wins. The Astros second in the AL West, 35-27 is their record. And the Astros trailed by the Blue Jays and the Indians, who are both 34-29, just a game and a half back, and everybody else is 5 or more games away from that second wildcard spot. In the National League East, the Washington Nationals are 37-25. They still lead this division. The Marlins beat the Phillies today, which allowed them to sneak into second place. They're 34-29, 3.5 games back. The Phillies are 33-28. They're 3.5 games back of the Nats for first place, just like the Marlins are. The Braves are 31-32. They've lost 3 in a row. They're 6.5 games back. And the Mets still in last place, double-digit amount of games back. They've lost 7 games in a row, and they've lost 8 of their last 10. They're 26-36. In the National League Central, the St. Louis Cardinals continue to lead. They beat the Pirates today. They're 33-30. The Cubs are 30-34. They've lost 3 games in a row. They're 3.5 games back. The Brewers are 28-34. They've also lost 3 in a row, 7 of their last 10. They're 4.5 games back. The Reds are 27-36, 6 games back. They're on a 3-game winning streak. And the Pirates are 23-39, still in last place, 9.5 games back, and they've lost 5 games in a row. The Cardinals still the only team in this division as well with a winning percentage over 500. In the National League West, the Dodgers continue to dominate. They're 43-19. They're still at the top. They haven't lost 20 yet, but they did lose to the Rockies today, which ended an 11-game winning streak. The Padres 37-27, 7 games back of the Dodgers. The Padres also lost today. The Diamondbacks are 32-30, 11 games back. The Rockies 26-36, 17 games back. And the Giants are 26-37, 17.5 games back of the Dodgers for first place. And the wildcard standings in the NL look like this. The Padres still in that top wildcard spot. They're 37-27. The Marlins, with their recent success, have tied the Phillies for the second wildcard spot. The Marlins 34-29, the Phillies 33-28, but they're both an equal amount of games back of the Nats for the NL East lead, and they're both in the same spot, the second wildcard spot in the NL. The Diamondbacks are 32-30, 1.5 games back. The Braves are 3 games back, 31-32, but every other team is 4.5 games back or more, and the Braves and everybody else below the Braves have a winning percentage under 500 this season. Looking at league leaders now, starting with batting average leaders in the American League, Miguel Cabrera still at the top. He has a batting average of .364, but he's being caught up to now. Carlos Santana just a point behind him. Santana with a .363 average, and Michael Brantley with a .344, good for third best. DJ LeMahieu also close. He has a .344 as well, good for fourth best. In the National League, David Dahl has a .356 average. He's still at the top, but he's being caught up to as well. Nicholas Castellanos has been on a tear recently, and he's fallen into the top 3 now in this category. He has a .353 average, just 3 points below Dahl. And Jonathan Villar, third best on this list with a .350 average. Hits leaders in the American League, DJ LeMahieu and Miguel Andujar, Yankee teammates that have 89 hits and lead the American League. Miguel Cabrera, third best with 86 hits. In the National League, Jonathan Villar's at 93. Paul Goldschmidt, second best, hasn't quite reached 80 yet. Villar with a very sizable lead, and Ronald Acuna Jr. rounds out the top 3 with 78. At bat leaders in the American League, Miguel Andujar has 262, and the leader in the NL is Jonathan Villar with 266. Doubles leaders in the American League, Anthony Rendon has 25, Jose Abreu has 23, Miguel Andujar third best with 22. In the National League, Jonathan Villar up to 31, Christian Yelich second best with 23, and Trey Turner, Ketel Marte, and Brandon Crawford tied for third best with 19. Triples leaders in the AL, Jose Altuve still at the top with 5 triples, Adalberto Mondesi second best with 4, and there's that long list of players you see there with 3 triples on the year. In the National League, Jonathan Villar leads with 7, and there's a 3-way tie for second best. Hunter Pence, Chris Bryant, and Victor Robles all have 5. Home run leaders in the American League, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. and Josh Donaldson At the top of this list with 22 home runs, Gurriel caught up to Donaldson, who was the previous sole leader, and tied for third best, one behind both Gurriel Jr. and Donaldson are Chris Davis and J.D. Martinez. They're tied for third best with 21, and for good measure, Justin Upton, the only other AL player with 20 or more home runs. He's right at 20, good for fifth best. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. has 25. Paul Goldschmidt 7 behind him with Max Muncy. They both have 18, and they're tied for second best. RBI leaders in the American League, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. still at the top with 66. He's 10 above Josh Donaldson, who's at 56. And Jorge Soler, Austin Meadows, Chris Davis, and Nelson Cruz all tied for third best with 54. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt leads with 52. Cody Bellinger 2 behind him with 50. And Christian Yelich rounds out the top 3 with 45. Run scored leaders in the AL, J.D. Martinez is at 50. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. has 55 runs scored. Stolen base leaders in the AL, Adalberto Mondesi at the top with 14, D. Gordon second best with 13, and Malik Smith third best with 12. In the National League, Starling Marte with a large lead. He's at 24 stolen bases. Jonathan Villar and Trey Turner tied for second best with 19, 5 behind Marte. Walks leaders in the AL, Shin-Soo Choo's at 41, Travis Shaw and Alex Bregman tied for second best with 38. In the National League, Brandon Belt and Rhys Hoskins at the top with 41 walks. Paul Goldschmidt third best with 40. On-base percentage leaders in the American League, Mike Trout's been on the injured list for a couple weeks now, but he is still a league leader in this category, 433. Miguel Cabrera with a 432 on-base percentage, and Carlos Santana with a 426. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt at the top with a 445 on-base percentage. Dansby Swanson, his total has fallen a bit in recent weeks. He's at a 432 on-base percentage, and Christian Yelich third best with a 429. Slugging percentage leaders in the American League, Josh Donaldson at the top with a 681, Mike Trout second best with a 659, and Chris Davis third best with a 645. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. has a 753 slugging percentage, Paul Goldschmidt second best with a 662, and Christian Yelich third best with a 659. OPS leaders in the AL, Josh Donaldson at the top with a 1.100. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. has a 1.174 OPS, and that's the NL lead. Pitcher statistics, wins leaders in the American League, Kenta Maeda still at the top with 8, Jake Odorizzi, Hyunjin Ryu, and Gio Gonzalez tied for second best with 7. In the National League, Walker Buehler with 10, David Price and Madison Bumgarner tied for second best with 7. Losses leaders, the two undefeated pitchers in the AL are Kenta Maeda and Mike Minor. In the National League, Carlos Martinez and Walker Buehler each have one loss on the year, and they're tied for that top spot. Everybody else has 2 or more. Saves leaders in the AL, Brad Hand and Liam Hendricks at the top. They've been in quite a battle for most of this year. It's been Hand, then Hendricks, Hand, Hendricks, but right now they're tied for the top spot with 23. Michael Givens is third best with 20. National League leaders, Giovanni Gallegos 25 saves, Sean Doolittle and Kenley Jansen tied for second best with 23. ERA leaders in the American League, Mike Minor with a 2.23 ERA that leads, Kenta Maeda has a 2.45, and Jordan Zimmerman at a 2.52, good for third best. In the National League, Walker Buehler's at a 160 earned run average, Mike Soroka second best with a 2.22, and Carlos Martinez right behind him with a 2.23 ERA. Home runs allowed among American League pitchers, Mike Minor and Gio Gonzalez tied for the top spot with 4. In the National League, Carlos Martinez has 3, and Garrett Richards second best with 4. Shutout leaders in the American League, Garrett Cole, Masahiro Tanaka, and Jake Odorizzi have all thrown 2 complete game shutouts this year. In the National League, Jacob deGrom still at the top with 3 complete game shutouts. Zach Wheeler and Walker Buehler tied for second best with 2, and the rest of the players on the list have 1. Strikeout leaders in the American League, Garrett Cole still at the top. Still the only one in the AL with over 100 strikeouts. Lucas Giolito second best with 97. He's close. And Carlos Carrasco third best with 95. In the National League, Steven Strasburg has 108 strikeouts. Clayton Kershaw with 103. And Robbie Ray has 97. He rounds out the top 3. Complete games thrown among American League pitchers, Garrett Cole, Masahiro Tanaka, and Jake Odorizzi all tied for the top spot with 2. In the National League, Jacob deGrom and Zach Wheeler have thrown 3 complete games this year. Aaron Nola and Walker Buehler tied for third best with 2. Innings pitched leaders in the AL, Hyunjin Ryu has 87 and 2/3 innings recorded. In the National League, Clayton Kershaw has 90 innings recorded. Walks allowed among American League pitchers, Carlos Carrasco at the top with just 11 walks allowed this season. In the National League, Trevor Williams and Brett Anderson tied for the top spot with 16 walks allowed. Whip leaders in the AL, Jake Odorizzi, the only one under 1, he's at a .98. In the National League, Clayton Kershaw is at a 1. whip. Aaron Nola at a 1.01 and Mike Soroka at a 1.04. Pitching WAR leaders in the American League: Jake Odorizzi, 2.3 WAR. Carlos Carrasco, Shane Bieber, and Corey Kluber all have a 2.1 WAR. They make up the top 4 on this list. In the National League, Yu Darvish has a 2.2, as does Walker Buehler and Jacob deGrom. They're all in the 1, 2, 3 spots in this list. Batting WAR leaders in the American League: Marcus Semien with a 4.2, DJ LeMahieu with a 4.0, Josh Donaldson with a 3.7. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. still at 5, Christian Yelich at a 4.1, and Jonathan Villar third best with a 3.7. These have been your game recaps, standing updates, and league leaders from Thursday, June the 4th, 2020. I'm Nicholas Callis. You've been watching Major League Baseball's virtual network.